This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and it's Smackdown time between Samsung's two highest-end Android phones. We have the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, just released now. It's February of 2022. And we have the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, released in August of 2021. I know quite a few in the comments have been kind of torn between which of the two it needs to buy, and we're going to try to help you now. So, to bend or not to bend? That is the question, most clearly. But there are other factors besides the whole, look, it's a bendy-wendy kind of phone or not. So first off, there's price. There's, gosh golly, it's expensive, and oh my goodness, I could get a nice laptop expensive. So the Ultra starts at $1199 in the United States, and the Z Fold 3 lists for $1799. Now, when I got my Z Fold 3, they had great trade-in deals, very generous towards the folding phones. Interesting, the folding phones are not worth that much when you trade them back to Samsung for something else, but they'll give you good trade-in deals for other phones when you trade in. But anyway, so there's a difference in price there. But you know, there are specials, there are promos and all that sort of thing, so you might find a good deal on them. Right now, the Ultra is the newness and the hotness. It isn't actually shipping yet. It will be at the end of this week. So Samsung still has pre-order deals, like you can get the 128 gig model, upgrade to a 256 gig model, no charge. And speaking of storage, you can go from 128 all the way up to 1 terabyte storage for the Ultra. The Fold 3 is 256 gigs of storage, or you can pay to upgrade that to 512. Neither of them has a micro SD card slot. So in terms of performance, there's one generation of CPU difference between them. With the Fold 3, for those of you who really don't like Exynos, that's only Snapdragon, so there you go. And that's a Snapdragon 888 processor, whereas the Ultra has either the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, one generation newer, or the Exynos 2200. So honestly, they're both so super fast it doesn't matter. When it comes to S Pen support, they both support the S Pen. Yay that. So obviously the Ultra has really become the Note this time around. But the advantage it has is it comes with a pen, whereas with the Fold 3 you have to buy the pen separately, and there's a silo for it. Yay. So in the Fold's favor, though, is the fact that the screen is less slippery. That kind of slightly rubbery screen protector, softer feeling screen is actually great when it comes to the pen because it doesn't skate everywhere on the screen. You can control it more easily, particularly useful for doing artwork on it. And the other thing is the aspect ratio. The Fold is more like, you know, a notepad shape. So it's perfect. You can write several words across one line or draw a picture that's actually not super wide and narrow, which nobody does really, you know. So that is in its favor as well. With the S Pen on the Fold 3, you have to get a different kind, whereas the Ultra works with all the S Pens. It's Wacom EMR standard. The frequency used for the Fold 3 is a little bit different. So there's a dual-purpose S Pen that Samsung sells for $99, or you can get a smaller one. And to kind of ameliorate the fact there is no silo, they do sell a case that also has a place to stick the S Pen, but that's not my favorite case. A lot of people don't like that case much. So, well, there's that. No surprise here when it comes to cameras. You know that the Z Fold 3, and I love it, has very competent cameras. They're kind of like having the cameras on the S20 to S21 family, that sort of thing. So you've got an ultra-wide, a main, and a 2x optical zoom lens there. Now the Ultra, the whole point of that thing is the cameras having the best that Samsung can make, and now also they've thrown in that notiness vibe as well. But so you've got 4 lenses, including 2 telephoto lenses, one that's 3x optical zoom, one that's 10x optical zoom, bigger sensors, fancier photography, improved videography, getting better certainly, improved night mode. So if you're just a normal person taking pictures, you're probably going to love the Fold 3. It's absolutely just fine. Like most people wouldn't mind an S21's camera either. But if you're really a photography maven, in the end, you're probably not going to be happy unless you get the Ultra for the best of the best camera experiences and that long-reach telephoto lens. I will say, much as I love the Fold 3 and I have taken some nice pictures with it, I am that photography person who is totally into photography, mirrorless cameras, the whole 9 yards. And I always feel a little left out when I carry my Fold 3 because say you go to the zoo, that telephoto lens is super handy. You're going for a walk in the park, these really nifty birds are flying above the lake or something like that. You can catch that stuff. With the Fold 3, not really so much. And then there's the selfie camera. Well, there's no contest here. It's neat that Samsung tried to do the under-display selfie camera, but the quality is really not very good. And then alternatively on the S22 Ultra, you have a 40 megapixel selfie camera, and that looks really great. So if selfies are important to you, I'm sorry, the one thing that the Fold 3 is not going to be for you is a great selfie camera. Now, ergonomics, they're both challenged in different ways. They're both heavy honking phones, okay? The Ultra is quite a carry, but the Z Fold 3, when you fold it shut, is pretty narrow and it's easier to hold. It may be thick because it's sort of like having two phones sandwiched together, but I find that it's easier to hold in one hand, as long as you don't let that weight drag it down and pull out of your hand, which is, you got to be careful about that, or put a grippy case on it. So it really depends. It's a pick your poison kind of thing. A little thicker, but a lot narrower, or do you want the big honking traditional slab that's about the biggest? They're both about the same height, so they're going to stick out of your pocket the same amount either way. And the Fold 3 will be a bit heavier, but when you're talking phones this heavy, then I say kind of whatever. When it comes to speakers, they both sound equally good and pretty good. I mean, not iPhone 13 Pro Max good, but pretty good, pretty loud, and they have some bass and some fullness is enjoyable. They both have 5G, ultra wideband, and sub-6 as well. They're both available unlocked or via carriers as well. So let's get to the really important thing for a lot of you. And for some of you who do have a Z Fold 3 and you're thinking about maybe trading it in for an Ultra, although I think the trade-in prices are not really good, at least not in the United States, if you're going to trade in that direction. But anyway, it's the whole durability thing and the creasiness, right? So you know who you are if your OCD is triggered by that crease down the middle, which is not going to go away. Mine really hasn't gotten any worse, but it is always there. Now I'm as OCD as the next gal out there, but it doesn't bother me. I kind of just stopped noticing it. But for some of you, it will be a deal breaker. Beyond that, durability. Now the Fold 3 is the 3rd generation, and it is the most durable yet for that inner display. Okay, the outside display is your absolutely normal glass display. That's nothing to worry about. But there are still people who are saying that their phones have cracked in the crease already. I have not had that problem. I didn't have that happen with my OG Fold. I had the original model as well, but I did sell it to a friend who did eventually have some problems, but then he went to a Samsung care facility and they fixed him up. It was out of warranty and they didn't even charge him much. From what I understand from reading Reddit and other forums is if you call up and the screen has down the crease, cracked, and through no fault of your own as far as you're concerned, over the phone you might not really get what you want out of it. You might have to go to a Samsung store or a Samsung Care store. So that depends on how far or close you are and how patient you are in case you have to negotiate that repair, that sort of thing. When it comes to the other kinds of durability, dropping it and all that, I have dropped it, and other people say they've dropped their Fold 3 and it's fine. It's actually pretty tanky, when it's closed, if you drop that thing. And the nice thing about the internal display is it's a little more shock resistant than your average screen. It's kind of a floating kind of mechanism there, so that's not likely to crack if you drop it when it's folded shut. I wouldn't drop it face down on the ground if you can help it though, but I think that's going to be the #1 concern for a lot of people, or for those of you who are thinking about maybe trading in your Fold 3s, because you just can't bear the worry around that, because if you have to pay for the screen repairs yourself, it can get expensive, several $100, $500, that sort of thing. So I can't tell you, I can only tell you mine is fine through cold weather. It hasn't cracked yet. And one last thing is the gee whiz factor. So some people get a Fold 3 or an OG Fold or a Fold 2, and they're like, because this is so cool, it's a phone that turns into a tablet, which is wonderful, and I use it that way all the time, and I unfold it all the time. But for some people, it doesn't seem worth the effort after a while, and they find they're just using that very tall and narrow outer display, which isn't the greatest experience as a mainstream phone experience, is it? So unless you think you're okay with opening the phone up often, then go with the standard candy bar phone like the Ultra, you know what I mean? So for me, I use the outer display for notifications, for messages, for phone calls, that sort of thing. If I want to do anything more heavy duty, I open it up. If I want to use a web browser or even Instagram, even though it's not the most well-supported thing, all sorts of stuff. I want to play games, I open it up. It's easy, but some people find it annoying to do that. That is up to you, so think about that one long and hard. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos and hit the notification bell so you know about them.